You are tuning into Mad Genius Live. I have a special guest today. Melissa Clark from the New York Times is here to talk about her new book, Dinner in an Instant. Melissa, what are you gonna make for us?
Pimento mac and cheese, 'cause yum.
Oh my gosh, Melissa is so cute. Everybody, good morning and welcome to Mad Genius Live. My name is Justin Chapple. I am your host today, and we have a really exciting show for you. If you tuned in last week, then you know we want you to engage, we want you to interact, ask questions, send us suggestions, or just make some comments, tell us your opinion. Do it all using our handy dandy hashtag MadGeniusLive. You could use it on all platforms. I'm really excited to be here today and have it's our second show. So if you were here last week, then you know we asked you to tune in and we asked you to use the hashtag, and in hopes of getting a little shout out on the show or a shout out on our Instagram account. So please do so, and I'm gonna tell you why, because we're gonna show you we're gonna introduce, let me go back. We're going to show you a picture of somebody who cooked a recipe from last week, Cravings in Instagram. It's a really beautiful picture. We're gonna put it up now. She made our flaxseed furikake from last week, and I mean, that is spectacular, and we're really excited. So just like Cravings in Amsterdam, if you use the hashtag and show us what you cook at home, then you might just get featured on Mad Genius Live. But with all, I have to introduce you to someone who I would like to think of as a friend, and I'm actually very honored that she decided to come on this show today. We are friends.
Totally friends.
And I'm so grateful because for a very long time, for many years, Melissa has been, an icon, a food icon. She is one of my idols in the industry. It's someone who I aspire to be like, because her recipes are foolproof and
You need more hair.
I just need a little bit more hair. I once had a lot of hair, but now it's a little short, especially because I got a haircut this week.
It's very nice.
But Melissa is here. She is a food writer for the New York Times, which is incredible. And she also has a new book out.
I do have a new book out, so you've got it right here, Dinner in an Instant. Now, we were talking about this before. Are you an Instant Pot person? Have you embraced the electric pressure cooker, or are you?
So I am a Instant Pot newbie. So our test kitchen manager here at Food and Wine, Kelsey Youngman, is the expert. So she teaches me everything Instant Pot. But that's part of why we wanted you on the show, because you are an Instant Pot expert.
I am. Well, I mean, I don't think I'm an expert, but I am definitely an enthusiast. I mean, I love the Instant Pot. And I wrote a book about it. And, it all started because, so I'm a columnist for the New York Times, and I wrote an article about the Instant Pot phenomenon, because all of a sudden you'd see, you'd go on Instagram and everybody would be Instant Potting. They'd put up their photos. There's this Face group book that has 1 million users. It became this phenomenon almost overnight, and I wanted to see what the fuss was about. So I got one of these things and I started cooking, and I fell in love. You can make brisket that takes 2.5 hours. You do it in 45 minutes. My favorite, beans, dried chickpeas. Okay, soak them overnight and then cook them for 4 hours. Yeah.
Forget about it.
50 minutes starting from the dried peas. Stuff like this changes people's lives.
It literally changes weeknight cooking.
It does. It does. You can do a lentil soup in 6 minutes. You can do, steel cut oats in the morning in 5 minutes. I mean, this is the kind of thing that just helps people. And like a slow cooker, you just plug it in and you walk away, and it just does it.
I love that. And it's so funny that you say that, because and this is going to speak to how much I love Melissa Clark. But so everyone was talking about the Instant Pot, and I was like, oh, I don't need a machine. I like to cook. I like to use pots, real pots. And then I heard that you were writing a book, and I was like, oh my God, what is all the fuss about? So then I was like, okay, I need to be a convert because Melissa Clark's doing it, so I might as well do it.
So you know what they call people who love the Instant Pot?
What's that?
Potheads. So we're just gonna be potheads together here at 11 o'clock in the morning.
A pun intended.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So I'm gonna, by the end of the show, I'm gonna be a pothead.
You're gonna be a pothead. We're gonna be potheads together. And so one thing about the Instant Pot is that, so mac and cheese, we're gonna make pimento mac and cheese.
We are making pimento mac and cheese!
And it's some things it does better than the stove, like meat and beans, they're better. They're actually more evenly cooked. Mac and cheese, it does it also really reliably, and you can go do other things. Because you're like, why would you do mac and cheese in this when it doesn't take a long time? Because it does it beautifully, and we're gonna show you.
And then you could just walk away.
Yeah.
Great, so when Melissa told me that she wanted to make pimento mac and cheese on the show, I got really excited, and I actually decided to theme the whole show around pimento cheese. And there's another reason for that.
Because you're a mad genius.
Because I'm a mad genius, but I got the idea from you. But I also got the idea because, so my friend Ashley Christensen, who's a chef in North Carolina, she has Beasley's and she has Poole's Diner, she actually sent me a care package of the different pimento cheeses she makes. And she does, you can see it right here on my Instagram, she does a variety of them. And one of them, she actually uses green peppers instead of red peppers, and so she uses poblanos.
Which is a little bit spicier than
right,
pimento.
and like a little bit smoky, and I was like, oh my gosh, I literally have to steal this idea. I'm borrowing it because I'm totally giving her all the credit for it. And I actually
She's inspired you. That's so we love to inspire each other,
exactly.
right?
We
you know you inspire me all the time. The magic. No, it's true. I want to make the apple.
My life as we speak.
So he makes this apple tart where he like makes the apple into a rose. Like, how beautiful is that? I'm going to do that.
Oh. Well, your version will probably be better than mine. But so Ashley inspired me to create a bunch of risks. But because I thought a lot of people maybe a lot of people watching don't realize what pimento cheese is, and we'll talk about it. It's a very American thing, right?
Yes.
So I figured we'd start with my version of a very classic one, and then we'll move on to my riff, and then we'll move on to your Instant Pot mac and cheese.
The new classic mac and cheese with pimentos.
And the Instant Pot.
Yes.
Of course. Okay, so we're going to start. So pimento can be spelled two ways. I don't want to get into all the nitty-gritty, but it can be spelled with two I's, which is pimiento, which is actually the Spanish term for sweet red pepper,
right,
correct?
Exactly.
And then in America, when we say pimento, which is spelled with one I, we usually refer to the pimento cheese, which is actually what I'm going to teach you here. These little guys here, which you find in a jar pretty much anywhere.
Yep.
So, okay, let's get started with my classic version.
But wait, we have to say something about pimentos. Pimento stuffed olives are underrated. And I want to do, you and I need to do more. So if anybody out there loves pimento stuffed olive, I mean, am I the only one?
No,
Not just
I
in
love
a martini.
them.
We
I
want
love
to hear
them.
what you're doing with them. Because
Martinis, Bloody Marys.
No, but aside from drinks,
Late
like you
night
can use them
snacking.
in salads and things. So tell us, please.
I think we need to have you back on
Hashtag.
just to do that.
Ooh.
Okay, we're call to action using hashtag #MadGeniusLive.
Give us some ideas. We want to be inspired by you. And I want to learn how to fun things other than just eating them out of my
Pimento
martini.
stuffed olives. Ready, set, go. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm gonna have you drain the pimentos in this bowl here because it's very simple. There's very few ingredients, and I have some shredded yellow cheddar here, which is the main ingredient, besides the pimentos. And
You can't use white cheddar for this, right? Because it's not going to look right.
not for this version.
Right.
Not a
It's not
classic
gonna-
one
it's not
because
gonna look right.
the classic version is like it's like orange. It's bright orange.
It's got to be.
Yes. So I just shredded this in my food processor, but I want to show you if you could do this all by hand. It could be really a dump and stir recipe. And I tend to like my pimento cheese really fine, but some people like it a little more coarse. So I just want to show people two ways of using a box grater. So if you press firmly and you do long strokes with your cheese on your box grater, you get these long shreds. But for my pimento cheese, I like to do little short spurts like this because you get much finer cheese.
You know, I actually never knew that you could do. I never thought about. I've never thought about the two different ways to grate cheddar cheese. So this is
A handy
very
dandy box
interesting.
grater, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a good thing.
Okay, let me just add this in
you
here.
finish that.
Yep, and then we're
What do
going
you want me to do the onions?
I'm going to hand you this. Do you want to stir the peppers into here?
Oh, sure.
So here you go. And then another ingredient, which some people put garlic, some people use onion, some people don't use any. I like to grate onion and add it to the mixture. And I'm grating it because obviously we're not using a food processor or anything like that. We're just...
Well, a great thing about grating, sorry, it's embarrassing, is that you get the juice. So it's not just the pieces of onion, you're getting onion juice, and that mixes in really well. So you're getting a more intense onion flavor for using less of the onion, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it also, but the little pieces that you get in there from grating are not like, they're not the little pieces where you're going to get and then you're like, oh my God, my breath is going to smell
Right, exactly.
all day
The
long.
juice is much better. It
Right.
actually just kind of gets into everything and you don't have those little pieces stuck in your teeth.
Right.
So we like grated, and also for garlic too. Do you use that for garlic?
Oh yeah, of
I'm
course.
a huge grated garlic person. Every night for dinner when I make my salad dressing, I grate a clove of garlic into the bowl, a whole clove of garlic for just the two of us. We're used to each other, so it's fine. Pinch of salt, lemon juice, and olive oil, and that's my salad dressing.
Okay, so I have about 2 tablespoons of grated onion. I'm going to put it in, let you mix it around. It's very fragrant, that onion.
But another thing, it doesn't hurt my eyes. When you grate it, it's not like, you know when you chop it and you start to cry immediately? The grating is a little more gentle on the eyes.
A lot more gentle. So, and then of course the other main ingredient is Mayonnaise.
Everything should have mayonnaise.
Everything should have mayonnaise.
Almost
or butter.
everything.
So,
Can I put it in?
yeah, go ahead. So it's not, I'm gonna reach over you.
Yep.
It might sound a little crazy, but this is actually like, I don't think you can make pimento cheese without mayonnaise.
You
right?
can't. Why
You
would
can't.
you? Why would you do such a thing?
Because it's kind of basically, and I don't think we got into exactly what pimento cheese is, but it's basically like a dip or a spread.
Right.
And you can, as you can see here, we have a beautiful crudité platter with tons of crackers, because I don't eat pimento cheese without either Ritz or saltines.
Which do you like better, Ritz or saltines?
Ritz!
Yeah, Ritz are better.
Because they're so buttery and delicious. All right, I'm gonna add some hot sauce here. I do a half a teaspoon.
That's
but
a lot. That's good.
I know,
No,
it
it
is
gives
a
it a
lot.
kick. I like it.
Yesterday when we were making some of this in the kitchen here, my coworkers was like, half a teaspoon?
Yeah, no, because you know what? It's not just the spice. It's also, Tabasco has vinegar. And it's like you need the vinegar to cut the richness of the mayo and the cheese. Like it all just works. It's just like a perfect food.
Yep.
Pimento cheese is a perfect food.
I'm gonna add a little bit of salt.
Okay, great. Oh, great.
Do you
Salt
add
first.
pepper to your
I
pimento
do. I
cheese?
actually add black pepper. And you know what else I add sometimes when I'm feeling like wild and crazy? Celery salt.
Ooh.
I know. That is a little thing I picked up in the South. And it's nice. It just gives it, that little something, something extra.
That is
Some
really
people
smart.
use garlic powder in their pimento cheese. I don't like that so much. I just like the onion and no garlic powder.
Yeah.
I like garlic, and then I'm not a garlic powder person, so. But
I'm
I do
actually
like
a
onion.
huge garlic powder.
Are you
yeah.
really? What
Garlic
do you do
powder
with
and
it?
onion powder. I make tons of dressings with it, like
Interesting.
fake ranches, homemade ranches.
Okay.
So we actually have a question from a viewer, and they want to know what they could do if they don't use mayonnaise. So what do you think?
I would do, sour cream for sure. Sour cream is a good one. You need something to bind it. So look how
Right.
this is bound together in that creaminess. If you don't have something like that, then the cheese isn't going to adhere. So if you try to use olive oil, it's going to be a gloppy mess.
But I think that you could probably use yogurt.
You could use
I don't
the
think it's
flavor
gonna-
would be weird.
the flavor
You know
would
what?
be
If
really
you
weird.
use yogurt, try to find a really a mild Greek yogurt, so one that's not so tangy.
That is a really good point.
That looks absolutely
This is why we have
beautiful.
Melissa on the show, because she's here to answer all the difficult questions.
I love to answer. I love answering. My first gig at the time, when I first started out at the New York Times, I wrote a column called The Food Chain. And this is when people actually wrote in letters and asked questions. Before people could find everything on the internet, they'd write questions like, why do eggs deflate if you put fat in the egg whites when you're beating? Oh, yes, please. And I would answer them in the paper.
And you can watch videos and read your articles from New York Times Cooking, right?
Yeah, okay, so New York Times Cooking, if you're interested in the Instant Pot at all, New York Times Cooking, nytcooking.com, has a whole guide, how to use it. Everything you've always wanted to know about the Instant Pot that I wrote.
So you have to check it out.
So you should check it out, actually.
And we're gonna
Can we
try
eat
this. So this is our my version of a classic pimento cheese. You can see here, I like to serve it with Ritz crackers, is my favorite way to eat it. It's so delicious, but you can have it with cucumbers and
perfect.
celery. I think I put a little bit too much Tabasco in.
No, I love it. I love it. It's waking me
A
up
little
this morning.
spicy. So
You gonna make the second kind?
we're gonna make the second kind, which, as I mentioned in the opener,
that's good.
is inspired by Ashley Christensen from North Carolina. She has Poole's Diner and she has Beasley's. And she makes a Poblano pimento cheese. So this is a Poblano pepper. It's green, obviously.
It's a little pointy.
It has kind of a medium thickness skin. I mean, it's not quite as thick as like a red bell pepper, but it's not super thin. So we like to peel them. And one of the ways that we do, and how would you describe the flavor of a Poblano?
So a Poblano, I would say it's a milder chili. It's much more intense than a bell pepper, of course, but it's not like a jalapeno. It's much milder. It kind of splits the difference.
Right.
I love it also for its sweetness.
Yeah. And
It's got incredible sweetness. So it's sweet and a little bit spicy. This is your, if you ever, okay, here's a good hack. I'm gonna give you a mad genius
Oh,
tip.
gosh.
Okay, if you ever are thinking, I don't wanna use jalapeno in something, it's just a little too hot, and you can find a Poblano, use a little Poblano instead because it's a little milder, especially for raw things.
That is really, really
There
smart.
you go.
And this is like one of my ingredients of the moment. I know it's not like a new thing, but I'm obsessed with it right now, so I'm so glad to share this recipe. So the way that you peel this, I'm gonna go right over here to the stove here, because you actually roast these over an open flame, as you know, but just in case people at home don't realize, you can actually do this right on your stovetop like this. You see, I already have these charring, and they get really nice and black and charred, and you can see that the skin becomes a little ashy. You could do this under a broiler, really close to a broiler. You can also do it on a barbecue. So once you get them charred all over like this, you transfer them to a bowl, and I'm gonna let you cover this, and you have
Another mad genius tip for you. I love tips.
She's full of them. I'm gonna bring her on the Mad Genius staff, I think.
Awesome. So mostly, you see how you used plastic wrap, but if you want to do it in a slightly more eco-friendly way, just to put a plate on top of it, and then you don't have the extra trash. So
I mean,
it's going to steam it. The point is you want to steam them. See how
Yeah.
the steam is building in there?
Because the steam is going to help the skin release easily from the flesh of the pepper. And I just have to say, so right before we went live, I was like, okay, Melissa, and then I'm going to ask you to cover it with plastic. And she goes, or we could use a plate because it's a little more eco-friendly. And I was like, yes,
Yes, we can.
absolutely we can. And we need to do that. So we did. Okay, so I'm going to show you what these look like after they steam. And Melissa and I are going to, I'm going to give one to Melissa. She's going to get this big one.
Okay. Can I use some paper
Oh my
towel to
gosh.
take off that?
Absolutely. I have some right here. Perfectly.
Oh, look at
perfect
that.
Little
Look at those paper
slices
towels
of
are all
paper
ready.
towel.
I love that.
So one of my other hacks is have like little individual slices of paper towels.
Yeah, who's going to do that for you, though?
So check out.
Here's a
Well,
hack.
we have
your
David
che-
McCann, who's our test kitchen assistant here.
I
So
think-
he did these for me.
That's awesome.
Very
I
nicely.
could have my child do it, actually. My 9-year-old is capable of doing that, I think.
So you can see here, we're just wiping, pretty much, I'm going to go right over you for this
Yep.
knife. You can literally wipe off the skins with
Yeah, it comes
paper
right off.
towel. I sometimes like to use a knife like this, and it pretty much comes, these are humongous. These are the biggest, I think, I'm going to cut
They're beautiful. Some people want to rinse these underwater, right? And you shouldn't do that because then you're rinsing away a lot of the flavor.
Right.
So
'Cause
don't
it kind
do
of
that.
it releases some oils
Yeah.
as it's cooking. So I'm just peeling it and I'm seeding it. You see that? I just take that right out. This is really good.
Sorry,
for
I'm
you
reaching
to
over
eat.
you.
No problem. And you just scrape off the skin. I wanted to slice it open because I want to show you the other way I like to peel it is I go like this and then I just kind of scrape it. I actually learned this working in restaurants because we had to peel every single red pepper that we used
God.
because it was a classic French restaurant. So
Do they make you peel the peas?
oh my gosh, and everything. The snap peas even. Like
Oh,
you had
God.
to, you literally, I was like, we're peeling snap peas?
Who
You had to
peels a
peel
snap pea? I don't even
everything.
know how to do that.
I don't know. Oh,
Something's beeping.
something's beeping.
That is our swap.
That is,
Swap.
so I'm just
Are we
gonna
allowed to talk
clean
about
this up.
that?
We are, because it's television, but everyone knows that.
Everyone knows we have swaps.
Everyone knows that we have salt. Okay, so we peeled our peppers. I'm only gonna use one for this recipe, and I'm going to transfer it to a food processor. This is Food & Wine's food processor that we put out just recently. And I'm just gonna give it a rough chop to get it going,
You're just using one of them.
just using one of them, but I wanted to put Melissa to work.
Right,
so.
exactly. Otherwise, what would I do? I'd twiddle my thumbs.
You'll actually share tons of information, because that's what you've been doing, and I love it. I wish I had as much information to share.
Oh, no,
with
you totally do. We're a good team this way because we can go back and forth. And then that tip, and then that tip.
And that one. So I'm just gonna add this to a food processor.
Can we just stop and talk about this like crazy?
This is our immersion blender that actually converts to a food processor. I really love it because it saves a lot of space in the kitchen.
Because then you don't have the thing on the bottom.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna chop it a little bit, the pepper, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add, will you hand me a rubber spatula?
I will.
Thank you.
Do you want me to grate the onion for this?
Oh yeah, please. So also for this version, I'm putting grated onion in it. For the same reason as the last one, but I'm also gonna add, so I have my pepper in here. I'm gonna add the grated onion. I'm gonna add, so for this version, I'm adding green hot sauce instead
Okay.
of Tabasco.
To
So-
keep the whole thing green.
yeah, just kind of like give it this verde theme going.
I know that you probably wouldn't do this, but what do you think of the idea of like cilantro in the green version to green it up?
I think it's a great idea
think
because
that's
I
a-
love cilantro.
You think that'd be good? Cilantro
Yeah,
haters.
but actually, believe it or not, I'll tell you a little insider secret, and
Yeah.
Melissa will probably be very familiar with this. But you know, when I develop recipes for Food & Wine, whether it's the magazine or the cookbooks or digitally, I always try to keep the ingredient list really.
Right. Right.
Short.
Yes, it's easier.
Yeah. So although when I create recipes like this, I'm like, oh, I want to put cilantro in it, I want to put this, and I want to do 2 kinds of green peppers.
Right.
I say to myself like, okay, let's start big and then scale it back. And
Yeah.
how do we get it under 10 ingredients?
It's like when a French woman gets dressed, right? She puts on her accessories, and then before she leaves the house, she takes off one thing. Right? Same
So
thing.
smart.
Yep.
Okay, so we have our poblano. We have 2 teaspoons of green hot sauce. I added the 2 tablespoons of grated onion. I'm gonna put it back on and just give it another quick pulse before, oh wait, oh, it's all right. I'll go back. All right, and then I'm gonna add my mayonnaise because it has to have mayonnaise, and I'm gonna add my cheese. So I shredded my cheese prior to this, but this is what I was saying before where if I weren't using a food processor, I would want the cheese more finely shredded.
I see. Oh, right. So this is bigger than your other one because
Yeah,
you're
you
going to
can
chop
see
it up
here,
more. Yep.
like it's so much bigger.
Now, did you grate that in the food processor too? Did
Yeah.
you put the little gratey thing on
Yep,
there?
I put the little grater
Nice.
disc on and then I grated it. which made it a lot quicker. But then I like to put it in at the end with the blade.
Right.
Just
if
to
you
kind
wanna
of give
get
it a little bit. Oops, I'm spilling this everywhere.
That's okay. Here. I'll clean up after you.
And then I'm just gonna pulse this until it comes together.
And then we're gonna eat it again, right?
Yes.
Maybe we should have it on a saltine this time, just to like mix it up. What do you think?
I think we should.
Should we just, be different that way?
You know, just to be fair.
Fair to saltines.
All right. And I'm pulsing this because I don't want to puree it. I want to leave a little bit of texture. But it's okay if you have texture because it not only makes it pretty, but you get all the little bites of everything. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit more.
Yeah, there's like one big chunk in there.
One big pepper that keeps
Yeah.
getting stuck on the
I
top.
know,
I know, I
right?
see it.
Okay, good.
Dang pepper is gonna be the
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get
We're gonna
that.
get
We're
it,
gonna
okay.
hunt it down and we're gonna puree it.
I think that looks good.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
All right. So this is Poblano pimento cheese.
Very
on
nice.
Mad Genius Live.
Is that going to be a new song? Are you going to
We're gonna have
a little number with
We're
that?
gonna have a segment where we just sing the recipes. I think that would be
Oh
really fun.
my God, I could do that.
And I'm definitely gonna have you on for that one. Do you sing?
Well, no, but I'll pretend. I'll fake it. I'll fake it till I make it.
Look at this. And one thing I didn't mention is that you could actually, so when I tested this recipe, I actually didn't add any salt to it. Believe it or
Didn't
not,
add any salt because of the cheese and the mayo had enough salt, or?
because of the cheese, but then also because it's the hot sauce I use is green, it's much milder than Tabasco. So
Okay.
I added like 4 times as much.
Oh, that's right. You just said 2 teaspoons.
Yeah, 2 teaspoons. So after I added the hot sauce, I actually felt like it really didn't need any additional salt, which I know is great for people at home who are trying to watch their sodium intake. Okay, look at this. And it's so awesome because they're both super simple recipes. And as I like to say on Mad Genius Live it's genius because it's simple.
Yes, that's so true.
It's so true.
Actually, that is true. I'm going to eat this now.
Okay, and we also have to,
Wow,
okay, good.
that's so good.
It doesn't even need salt. It doesn't even need salt.
Oh my God, I like it just as much as that. I didn't think I would.
Yeah.
really
So
good.
we did our classic version, my version of a classic. We did the Poblano pimento cheese, and the great thing about pimento cheese, believe it or not, is it's not just a dip that you eat with crackers and crudités, but you could use it for a lot of different things. I love to actually make stuffed grilled cheese with it, and which we're gonna show you a picture of, and you can get the recipe for that at foodandwine.com, there it is. But I also love, and this is a recent recipe of mine, I like to stuff it under chicken skin and then roast the whole bird, which
That
I'm
is
gonna show.
insane.
Yeah, and
it is
gets,
insane. And
it
really,
flavors all the
beautiful.
meat. It's so good. All right,
All right, should we?
the moment we've been waiting for, because although we love a classic and a riff, we're gonna do the ultimate riff on pimento cheese.
Pimento mac and cheese, because everybody loves the mac and cheese, and we love pimento cheese.
Yes.
So
And so if you're just joining us, Melissa Clark from the New York Times is here to talk about her new book, Dinner in an Instant, which is available everywhere now.
Instant Pot, yes, it is actually.
So-
and when you buy your Instant Pot, you could just order it alongside.
I know, because I actually went on to Amazon and it said frequently bought together. You know how it pops
Yeah,
up
yeah,
at the
yeah,
bottom?
yeah.
It says like, people bought an Instant Pot and then they bought Melissa Clark's book and then they bought 4 other Melissa Clark books because she has like 100 of them.
But not about the Instant Pot, about other things.
So, all right, before we get started with pimento mac and cheese, just tell us about the book and tell us like what got you started with the Instant Pot.
Well, so as I was saying earlier, but if you missed it, I was curious about what the Instant Pot phenomenon was when I'm a reporter for the Times, and I had an assignment to find out why people were in love with their Instant Pots. So I bought one, and I just took it to I put it through every single test. I made pretty much everything you can think of to make it, and some things it does better than traditional methods. It's fantastic for braising meat. It is fabulous for making beans. Hard root vegetables, you know, beets, how you put them in the oven and they just never cook. 15 minutes in the Instant Pot. And so what it does really, really well. There are some things it doesn't do. Do not try to get crispy in there. It's not going to get crispy. And I wrote it all down in the book. And see those ribs on the cover? Oh my God, sticky ribs, sticky tamarind ribs. 22 minutes.
Oh my gosh, instead of 4 hours.
Yeah, because usually you have to do them really low and slow. But because this combines pressure along with heat, you get a very even cooking and you get a very fast cooking. So it's brilliant. And you can just like a slow cook. I always say it's like a slow cooker, except it's fast. You just like plug it in, you walk away, and it does its thing. And
So
it's
Melissa said
great
it was
for mac
brilliant,
and
but
cheese.
because she's on Mad Genius Live, I'm gonna say it's genius.
It's genius!
It's Mad Genius. Okay.
So we're gonna make this pimento mac and cheese. And first thing I want you to do
Yes.
is Okay, one problem with the Instant Pot is because it heats from the bottom, sometimes it can burn, so we're gonna brush it with butter to keep that from happening.
Great.
So use 1 tablespoon of butter and just brush it.
Can I just throw it in there?
You throw it in and just brush it about halfway up the pot.
Okay.
Not even, like a third of the way up the pot.
Okay.
And I've got some garlic here. So what's so great about cooking your pasta when you make mac and cheese, normally you boil your pasta and then you mix it with the sauce, right?
Right.
We're gonna cook it in the sauce. So it's gonna get incredibly flavorful, a lot more flavorful than cooking it in water.
Which is why I feel like that's like one of the many things that makes this recipe really genius.
So I've got a garlic clove, because garlic, I put garlic in everything. If you don't like garlic in your mac and cheese, leave it out, but it really adds a lot. A little bit of cayenne. Okay. I'm just putting all of this in the blender. And here, do you want to? Well, we have a chopped one, but we chopped a jalapeno. We did the mise.
Chop one for you.
Here, you want to do? Okay,
Yeah.
chop.
We'll see if I could get it done in time before you need it.
Otherwise, we have a backup right here.
Okay. Do you seed your jalapeno?
Okay, this is what I do. I smell it to see how hot it is.
Oh, that's a really.
Because you can kind of if it prickles your nose, if you smell it and it goes out, you have to go.
Sweet.
Yeah, so then you can leave the seeds in because it's not going to be that hot.
I literally, this is blowing my mind because I don't know, I always put my finger on it and then I lick it.
Sometimes I just actually lick the whole thing, but I won't do that on TV.
This is so mad genius. I cannot believe I never thought about this. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's good, right?
That is crazy. It literally smells sweet. It smells like a bell pepper.
Right, exactly. So you know it's not going to be that.
Oh my God.
You might take out some of the seeds just because it gets texturally a little weird, wonky,
Yeah.
but you don't have to worry. If that was really hot, you'd want to really get the seeds and the veins out. Okay, so mustard powder. I'm going back to my blender. Mustard powder.
Which I love.
Yeah, mustard powder just gives it a different kind of kick. A little bit more butter, because why not? Butter is good. And then here's the thing, cream cheese. Cream cheese makes mac and cheese super creamy.
This is a huge jalapeno.
And milk. I'm just going to blend this whole thing together. And this is the sauce that we're going to cook the noodles in. And a little bit of heavy cream. If the heavy cream freaks you out, just use more milk. I love richness.
But it doesn't look like you're putting too much.
No, it's just a little. And what it does is it just adds a little bit of roundness and richness, but it's not strictly necessary. Okay, we're going to.
So you do not put the jalapeno into the blender?
No, you just throw it in the pot.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this on. So loud noise. Sorry.
I was always taught in video, don't talk over a blender. But because we're live, I don't care. And we're going to talk over the blender. This is the biggest jalapeno I've literally ever chopped.
That is a huge jalapeno.
So I'm going to let you decide how much we add.
We're going to just use all of it because
Okay.
we're going to live dangerously. Okay, so you have that all buttered?
Yep, this is all buttered. I got it ready for you. I'm going to show everybody. Look how beautiful that is.
That is very beautiful, thank you.
Beautifully buttered.
Let's put this in first.
Okay, so we're going to add that in here.
So this is our sauce.
Oop, I got a little milk on my face.
I'm sorry, I splashed you. Sorry.
It's all right, no problem.
away.
No problem. We have our paper towel.
Perfectly proportioned.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm throwing this in.
Okay.
And when I developed the recipe, first thing I did was to put the jalapeno in after this came out, after I didn't cook it with it. I thought I wanted the crunch, but then it turns out I didn't. It was too crunchy. I wanted it to be cooked a little bit, and it infused the sauce with more flavor.
Gotcha.
Now we have our noodles. So just macaroni. I have also done this, by the way, if you don't have macaroni. I had butterflies, farfalle?
Yeah, farfalle.
And it works exactly the same. So you can use other shapes if you're out of macaroni. But,
I
classic.
tend to like a classic elbow.
I like a classic. It's true. I'm just going to give this a stir. Now you want to stir it, but you don't want to mess up the butter on the bottom.
Okay, the brushed butter.
The brushed butter. So just give it a gentle stir, and then you seal the top. Come on. And this is very important. So you see this little knob here?
Yeah.
This is the venting knob and the sealing knob. If it's not, see it says venting and it says sealing. If it is not in the right place, instead of pressurizing, it'll just vent it. So it'll cook it, but only halfway, and you won't get the pressure.
So you won't
This is a
develop the pressure
newbie
there.
mistake that I have made. Everybody makes this mistake. They forget to put it. They'll leave the knob like this.
Yeah.
And they'll wonder, why is my chicken only halfway cooked? And it's because, so just don't, I'm telling you, don't do that when you start playing with it. Make sure it is
Good to know. Mad
sealed.
genius tip. Make sure you
Yeah,
set.
no, it's like a little thing that everyone, I did the same thing when I first got it. Okay, and then you set it to, so we want to set it to, is this plugged in?
I think it is plugged in. Is it on?
It is,
You can turn it if you need to turn it.
it is not.
Is it not working?
It's not working. Okay, well, let's just pretend that we set it to 6 minutes, 6 minutes on high pressure. So, and then it goes.
Okay, so let's show it. Okay, we're gonna check our plug, but can you show us like what you would do?
Yeah, you'd go pressure cook, and then it would give you a number, and you would just click it up to 6 minutes.
Okay.
Or click it down, and then it would go on, and it would have a little on, and it would just be lit up in blue, and it's very pretty. And enough about that. Let's go to the one that we have already cooked.
Okay, so just to clarify, so you put it, it's on manual, you set it, and then you set it for 6 minutes. So does it take 6 minutes, or does it have to fully come to pressure first?
Right, this is another thing. When you're using the Instant Pot, it always takes a certain amount of time to reach pressure. So this takes about 10 minutes. So it's 6 minutes cooking, but 10 minutes of reaching pressure. So it's a 16-minute thing. But you don't have to sit here. You know, when you're cooking on the stove, you have to mind it.
Right.
This, you plug in, you walk away, you email someone, you help your kid with your homework. It frees you up, which is really convenient. I mean, because
especially on a weeknight, like 15 minutes is like valuable time.
Yes.
Like,
oh my God, 15 minutes. I can do so much in 15 minutes on a weeknight.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch with you because I want you to show us.
Okay.
So this is.
So you notice that we didn't put the cheese in yet, or the pimento, and that's because we don't want to cook. It'll get stringy if you cook it in there. So we're just gonna add it now.
Okay, so.
So this is you can see this is ready. We're gonna vent it.
Okay.
So it's released itself a little bit. Sometimes it goes shh.
Yeah, but this is also, so we actually set this right before we went live. Right. So it's been sitting for about 20 minutes, so.
Okay, and then we're just gonna wait. Now you know that this is done venting when this little button over here is gonna fall down. So when this button is raised, it is actually a safety measure.
Oh, there it goes.
See, it prevents you from opening.
Okay,
and when
so
it drops down.
There's a little button on top.
And then here it is. Doesn't it smell good? So we get.
Or do you want a bigger spoon? Like a wooden spoon?
Oh, wooden spoon. I didn't even see that. Okay, so this looks. Okay, so we're gonna add the cheese.
Ready?
And we're gonna add the pimento. And the heat of the pasta is gonna cook it.
And you told me before that it's always nice to have a little bit of milk on hand.
Yeah, because this looks kind of thick. Sometimes if you let it sit like a few minutes extra, it'll thicken up. So you want to just add a little bit of milk. And then we're going to stir it until the cheese melts.
Gotcha.
And you know, you never know. So different pasta brands cook at different rates. So say that you get this and you taste it and you're like, this is a little crunchy. All you do is you take this, you put the top on, don't seal it, and just let it hang out. And then the residual heat and the steam will continue to cook it. So never worry about it being a little too crunchy.
Right.
It'll soften up.
And don't we have some towels here? Do you are you comfortable if I lift it up just for a second to show people all the melty cheese?
Yeah, can people see?
I'm just gonna show the camera really quick so they can get it. And then
for
we're gonna put it back because I think Melissa wants to get it. Do you see that? How it's like getting super melty? Like she's literally stirring in the cheese. It's like sliding down the pan. Look at that. It's super, super creamy. I'm gonna put it back, let her finish.
I think we're done.
Just for all of you.
I think we're finished. We're done. We can eat this now.
I mean, it looks like it's ready to eat.
Yeah, we're done. So easy, right? Easy after work, super simple, feed your kids. By the way, if you wanna make regular mac and cheese, I have a recipe in my book for regular mac and cheese that doesn't use the pimentos and is possibly more child-friendly depending on your kid. My kid.
Oh, right, because some kids probably don't like the peppers.
Some kids don't like the peppers, especially there's jalapeno in there too, so.
Oh, right. So you can definitely so this is seems like a very adaptable recipe. Like as long as you leave kind of the liquid quantities the same, the cheese quantities the same and all of that, you could kind of customize it, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know what I did I have a new book I'm working on, which is called Instant Comfort, or maybe Comfort in an Instant. And I did mushroom mac and cheese with Gruyere.
Yum.
So good.
Yum, like kind of that's a really adult thing.
That's that's a grown-up version.
Look at how cheesy this is.
Yum.
I can't believe how quick this was.
Can we eat it?
Let's try it.
Oh wait, it might need salt and pepper.
Oh, here, I'll taste it first and let you know.
Okay, I'm sure it's gonna need salt.
There you go, salt.
Yeah, no, sorry, I forgot to salt it.
So you would salt, so you stir in your cheese, stir in your peppers,
and
then
you salt and pepper.
Right?
Yeah, you put your salt and pepper in.
This is so good.
Right?
It's like the perfect mac and cheese.
And it's
in 50 work-free minutes.
And the jalapeno just a little bit, but not too much.
Not too much. It's so good. Oh my goodness, this is so delicious. Don't forget, we want you to be engaging with us and tuning in.
Is this weird?
That is not weird at all.
Weird, right?
This is like a double.
Is that weird?
This is like a double pimento cheese fantasy world right now.
Oh
I'm gonna do both.
Yes, both.
Here, I'll give you a little. This is crazy town right here. This is mad genius.
This is delicious. This is really good.
Let me grab your book.
Okay, do this at home, people. Do this at home.
Melissa Clark from the New York Times is here on Mad Genius Live talking about her new book, Dinner in an Instant. She just made, I think it's one of my new favorite mac and cheese recipes. Pimento mac and cheese. We also made a classic mac and cheese and a riff on a classic called Poblano Pimento cheese. And I'm so thrilled that you came on. You're actually my very first guest on the show.
Yay, well thank you for having me.
You're my favorite guest too.
Well,
you're
your only guest, so I have to be your favorite.
Because I know, because you're like you're literally one of my idols. Thank you so much. We're gonna keep eating this. Don't forget to tune in to Mad Genius Live next week. Don't forget to continue to send comments and questions because we're gonna get to them even though we're not live after the show using the hashtag Mad Genius Live. And tune in next week at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks for having me.
All right,